What's going on, guys? The Real Sharif M here, aka Mangana Steel, with a new video for you guys. And today we are going to be discussing whether USA-made knives are worth it. So, the TLDR of this video is going to be yes, but depending on which brand. The current arguments about American-made knives really is that they're overpriced, undermade, they have poor heat treats, sometimes the companies cut corners, and there's a lack of innovation and new designs. I would argue, in point of fact, that this actually tends to be an issue for the entirety of the industry. I don't think many of the major factories are doing heat treat like perfectly well every single time. There are some exceptions to that, absolutely. I do think in a lot of cases, a lot of knives are overpriced for what they genuinely are. The undermade issue is, I think, manufacturer specific, and the lack of innovation and new designs is, again, an issue that I genuinely think plagues the entirety of the industry. It's not just specific to American companies. Here, you're going to see a range of the American-made knives that I currently own. I have Emerson's, I have ZTs, I have USA-made Kershaw, Benchmades, and Spyderco's. Now granted, I am probably going to be thinning out some of this collection simply because I don't like to keep knives that I don't carry frequently, but some are absolutely in my never sell kind of category, never sell list. And it's not just because they're American. Now, I am as patriotic, if not more patriotic, than the next guy. And I truly believe that we need to support our brothers and sisters who are, creating, products here in the US. But I don't also have any problems with anything manufactured overseas. I'm actually really, really sick of this sort of mantra that, anything made in China is crap. Because in point of fact, Chinese manufacturers have advanced. Even if you look at their track record within the last couple of years, they have massively improved their manufacturing, and they have been offering consistent quality at a good price. While a lot of people will parrot on about, oh, well, in America you get a warranty, I haven't heard a situation in which somebody didn't have a problem with the Chinese knife where it wasn't immediately addressed. I actually just got a message from somebody the other day where they said they had an issue with a KUBEY. They messaged KUBEY, and literally they sent them a whole new knife. No questions asked. They literally just dispatched a whole new knife. But I've also heard that story about, for example, Benchmade. So I don't think that that's really a massive difference between the two nations, that are offering these products. I would say that it's a net zero, right? But if I really wanted to kind of tackle this issue, I think the biggest challenges that we have in the United States is, first, heat treat. We have to get the things that are made in the United States heat treated to by the book standards consistently across the board. If we want to dominate, that is the number one thing that we can do here in this country that would really truly differentiate us. M390 at 59 to 60 HRC just ain't it, guys. But if we could nail the heat treat consistently on all the knives, I think that we would have a real advantage here, because you would have an excellent heat treat on a knife that is typically, built tough as nails. And that's one of the things that's kind of a signature of American knives. Now, with the one exception that I can think of is maybe Kershaw, right? This is a bare knuckle in 20 CV, and it's meant to be a slim EDC folder. It's not meant to be a hard use knife. But man, if you think about ZTs or Hinderers, which this is a ZT Hinderer, man, if this came, in Magna Cut with a bomb heat treat and this construction, dude, this thing would be insane, would be absolutely insane. And that to me would be an amazing value proposition. The other thing that we could really work on as far as like the USA made knives is build quality consistency. Now, really out of all of the knife companies, the ones that have really nailed this down, in my opinion, have been Spyderco. Spyderco, man, you get, wow, that's stiff still. This is my new Yojimbo in CPM crew wear, and this thing is phenomenal. Came out of the box like as center to center could be. Nice stiff detent, really excellent construction, and it's across the board. I mean, if you look at my St. Nick's exclusives, they're also phenomenal. These guys all just exude quality and just craftsmanship right from the off. One of the companies that does get a bit of criticism for this has been Emerson. But if this EX100 is any indication, this has been one of the best Emersons I've ever gotten out of the box. I mean, everything, all the liners are all done really well. There's not a single hot spot. The lock stick that's typical of Emersons when you get them has broken in beautifully, and this thing is just a phenomenal knife. And if this is the direction Emerson is going, we can be really excited about his products going forward. Now, if you combined an Emerson, this particular Emerson, with like a crazy ass heat treated blade, oh man, like this thing would just be, I don't know, it would be the only knife I ever needed in use. Just as a quick side note, I mentioned that there was some lock stick with it. There was a bit of lock stick here with this Yojimbo too when it first came. It wasn't as strong as the Emerson was, but it would still need a little bit of a pop to get over. So don't be too hard on Emerson. I know a lot of people try to shit on them. I don't know why. But Emersons are great knives in my experience, and I've been able to hard use and rely on mine in a number of occasions. I mean, we have great knives here. We have knives that are just reliable, built American tough, So if we could just dial in the heat treat, make sure that we don't drop below the standard of something like this or like this, we'd be owning the game. The last thing that I do think we could address is really the quote-unquote issue of innovation and new designs. Now, as an industrial designer for over a decade, the concept of innovation in knife making is kind of a misnomer. Let's be honest. Like, the reality is, how much can you truly innovate when you essentially have, two slabs of titanium, a piece of steel, some bearings, and some screws, right? Some of the biggest innovations, as far as I can see, have been like the axis lock, the compression lock, the Lee Williams kickstop. Occasionally you have a guy like Demko who comes out with a new locking mechanism, but that's very rare. That's incredibly rare within the industry. Within any industry, I would never chide the American manufacturers for innovation, like, whatsoever. I think it's much better to get on them about heat treat and build quality consistency. New designs definitely can be something that I think we need to address within the American marketplace. Look at ZT's new catalog. ZT's new catalog was really, truly abysmal. Kershaw's catalog is okay, right? We haven't had a new Chris Reeves model in how long? That's where I could really take some issue. And the thing of it is here, right? It's that they've really closed their doors to, in my opinion, outside input. There's a whole raft of American born and bred designers who would be willing to work with any of these companies in order to bring new products to the market. Dylan Mallory is one. I'm another one. The list goes on and on. If I could work with Chris Reeves, or if I could work with Spartan, or if I could work with ZT, that would make my day. that would make my life, my career. There are opportunities for these companies to innovate and do new things, right? Like, the production cycle of a new knife is not as difficult as a lot of people think. It depends on the scale of the operation, of course. Particularly with companies like ZT, I genuinely believe that they do not have an excuse. Transitioning from problems and potential solutions, one of the things that I want to kind of address are some of the excuses and justifications people give. First and foremost is that by buying Chinese knives, you're supporting the Chinese government. No, you're fucking not. Yes, there is some ownership of the Chinese government in every single product, but if you really have an issue with that, go around your house and see how many products that you own are made in China, okay? If you really had this issue with not funding the Chinese government, you would be out there lobbying and petitioning the American automotive industry to completely remove all of their products from China, right? Because Ford in China is like 50% owned by the Chinese government. It's the cost of doing business there, okay? And it's universal across the board. What you're really doing is supporting any other company over there and putting, your money where you think a good product is. It's not about the Chinese government. The Chinese government just has a bigger rake than the US government, and let's face it, governmental rakes are pretty big regardless. The other kind of like argument or excuse that usually comes up is that USA deserves loyalty. In my opinion, if you believe in a capitalist system, then that is kind of BS, because capitalism is fundamentally predicated on the concept of survival of the fittest. And if you are not putting forth a superior product and you cannot manage your company to meet the demand for your product, then you don't necessarily get a pass on survival. We're not driving Packards. To go back to the automotive industry, there's so many automotive brands that came out between the Model T and, let's say, like the 1980s, when most of those companies had gone out of business. They came and disappeared. Why? Because they could not keep up with the market demand, and they were not creating a superior product that sustained their business. If you truly believe in American-based mentality and you buy into this capitalist system, you do not just give loyalty unfounded. So the next thing that, the sort of excuse that has come up that really like kind of pisses me off is that there's this whole concept that millennials are to blame, nobody wants to work, everybody's short-staffed, right? Everybody globally is short-staffed. First of all, COVID hit everybody. But, for example, I've worked with Chinese factories for the last over a decade of my life, and I can tell you that the turnover rate in China is insane, even pre-COVID. I was working with a company that was making electric motors for me, and the head of the factory was telling me that every single week he was trying to teach a new guy a new job, because they would basically come in, they would get taught how to do their job, and then once they knew how to do their job, they would ghost and look for higher pay. And that's just how things are nowadays. Unfortunately, do I like it? No. But it is an equalizer in the marketplace to some degree, and you can't say that it's just exclusively happening here. It's fucking millennials and them being lazy asses and not wanting work. Everybody wants to work. Everybody wants to put food on the table. Everybody everywhere wants to survive another day, okay? So this, like, social media parroting of these talking points, which have been kind of like shoved down our throat to like generate generational divides and class divides, is bullshit. It is. And if you really look into the statistics, like, you'll see. Honestly, like, from my point of view, there are some American brands who are doing exceptionally good work. Exceptionally good work. And we need to highlight them. So, who do I think is doing really, really good work right now? Tactile Turn. Oh my God. Everything that I've been seeing coming out of Tactile Turn has been amazing. If they have had any missteps, they've dealt with it really quickly and addressed the issues. And dude, their new knife that's coming out, I'm going to be right at the front, money in hand. Give me that shit. That it looks amazing, looks stunning, and I'm super duper excited for it. Another brand that I would say is doing really, really well is the James brand. Now, that may be controversial to you guys, and it's okay if you think that they're more kind of like designerly and marketing, whatever. Fine, so be it. But if you have like investigated into anything about them recently, you would know that they're trying to move all of their production to the US. They're doing stuff at a very, very high level, and they are really, really trying to bring a unique quality product to the market. Whether you like it or not is a different issue, but they are really making good headway. And in point of fact, it's something that I would love to do. Like, I would really, with my own brand, love to start in China, make a good solid base, and then bring everything here to the US, if at all possible. And I will really have James Brand to thank for that, because they are currently blazing that trail for people like me. Let's see, who else is doing great things? Hogue, man, has been knocking it out of the park, right? That RSK Ritter, their Decas, right? I mean, dude, they're offering essentially a bug out with Magna Cut steel cheaper than bug outs. Like, come on, guys. Like, that's nuts. Spyderco is still killing it, man. Like, a lot of their products are not for me personally, but they are really, really well-made products, and they are continuing to just be at the cutting edge of steels and heat treats and really like unique offerings in the marketplace that, yeah, if their knives may not always like fit my hands, but they're always something that I admire within this industry. And if in all honesty, they are the darling, as far as I'm concerned, of American, manufacturing. Not to mention ProTech, dude. ProTech has been killing it, you guys, right? Like, they have been doing some really great stuff. When they launched the Malibus back in the day, those things started flying off the shelves. Then they teamed up, with Bob Trezzola recently, and have been doing bits, man. Like, ProTech is always an amazing company, and they deserve all the accolades they get and more. Beyond that, we have TRM. TRM has been doing great stuff. absolutely great stuff, all American made product, and it's something that's genuinely missing from my collection is a TRM, you know. Usually it's because they sell out so quickly. I can never get the one that I specifically want. Also, my beloved Emerson, guys. Emerson is killing it right now. If you guys missed this EX100, I definitely would consider it if I were you. Check out my review that I did, or my unboxing of it. Great knife if you've got big, you know, ham fist hands like mine. Who else? Who else is doing really good stuff? ZT normally, I'm really like, I'm a big fan of ZT from, you know, the 0640 to, I can't remember this guy, the 393, yeah, the 0393, great knife, you know, and particularly one of my all-time favorites, the 0055, right? ZT, you guys need to get back to doing shit like this, man. This was a phenomenal design. If you started doing more like really creative, hard use built knives, more than the 308, you would be swimming in cash right now. So please, you know, you guys need to step up to the table. Last but not least, there are two brands that I really think are doing okay, but could be doing better. Now, if I forgot anybody, my apologies. I don't know every single brand under the sun, but if you guys saw my most recent video, I think Benchmade needs to step it up, guys. Like, this is not a $180 knife, but it is priced as such now. I literally went into my local knife store a few days ago, and they're actually selling this for $171. And it's crazy because even Spyderco said that this quarter, this year, they're not going to raise prices. They saw the writing on the wall, and somehow Benchmade has been completely oblivious to that and went the opposite direction. That's it. That's my sum total thoughts on American knives right now. I know I definitely forgot some brands. I didn't touch on Gerber and SOG or SOG, however you want to say it. And I'm sure I missed a few others. But I like to speak on what I know rather than what I don't know. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please drop your thoughts in the comments below and give me your 2 cents on the issue. Peace.